Hi, welcome to the section of this video course. So in this section, we'll be discussing the different ways in which you can implement your business processes in Salesforce. So in the first video of this section, we'll be discussing how to create workflow rules within Salesforce.com. So standard processes within your organization are one of the most important aspects of any system. With the nature of businesses being ever dynamic, the need to change these business processes without writing code is important for the success of any system. With workflow rules in Salesforce, we can create data-driven rules that trigger certain actions within the system. So in our example, we'll be creating a workflow rule around the opportunity object for mutual electronics. Our business processes will be around any closed opportunity and will notify the CEO and higher level management when any major opportunity is closed. Next, we'll be creating a workflow rule that will basically be triggered when an opportunity has an amount greater than 1 million USD and is updated to closed won. Next, the workflow rule will then trigger a workflow action, which is, in our case, an email notification that will be sent to certain users within the system. So to start off, let's just go to the Setup menu, go to Build, expand on Create, go to Workflow and Rules, before finally clicking on Workflow Rules. So let's just skip this splash page. So first off, let's click on New Rule to create our new workflow rule. Select the object that our workflow rule will be based on or will be running against. So let's select Opportunity, click on Next. So then we'll enter workflow details like label and description. So let's first enter our rule name, which is one major opportunity. Enter a description and notify higher management. So then we'll select our workflow rule evaluation criteria. We'll select when our workflow rule is evaluated. So for this workflow rule, we'll select the option created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. So this means that the workflow rule is evaluated anytime a new record is created in the system, or if an existing record was updated and its current value now satisfies their workflow rule criteria. So other options include triggering the workflow when the rule is created. We also have another evaluation criteria that states that when a particular record is created and every time it's edited. So for our example, we'll only select the default option. So on the rule selection, we can either choose criteria or a formula. So for our example, we'll just create a simple criteria and select first opportunity amount as our field. Select greater than or equal on our value, which is $1 million. So next we'll select another criteria and add it to the rule criteria. Opportunity stage, select equals. We'll click on the lookup function to select our value, which will be stage 1, closed won. Let's click on insert selected. So let's just show you a little bit of the filter logic. So additionally, we can further tweak our criteria by indicating the criteria logic for our evaluation criteria. So instead of one and, you can either use one or if you have more than 2 rule criteria, you can create more complex logic around it. So for example, 1 or 2 and 3. So for this particular example, we'll be sticking with the basics since we want this workflow rule to trigger when both of the criteria is met. So that's going to warrant 1 and 2 logic criteria. So let's click on Save and Next. So workflow rules are useless unless attached with actions. So after saving our rule, we'll be directly led to a page where we can add different actions to our workflow rule. So let's click on Add Workflow Action and select Existing Action as our option. So here we're going to select an existing workflow action that we have pre-built for this demo. So let's select Email Alert and select this particular email alert, which emails regional manager for the US sales about this particular opportunity. So let's just add that and hit save. So this means that when this particular workflow rule is met, or it is met by any record in the system, it triggers a workflow action that triggers an email alert that passes it on to an email template and passes on the opportunity data to that template and is then sent to the regional manager US and any major management staff. So let's just click on Done to finalize our workflow rule. And just let's hit activate so that this workflow rule will start to take effect. So that's it. We just created the workflow rule and activated it for it to work upon all of the opportunity objects or opportunity records to be entered into the system. So with us introducing new rules into our system, the management of all workflow rules in the system might become tiresome as the number of rules grow. So to help with managing of the visibility of these rules, we can create workflow rule list views to group different lists of workflow rules based on certain criteria. So to start, let's just go to workflow rules. Here we can click on create new view to create a new list view for our workflow rule. So this is just like any list view in the system. So let's select our view name, which is all opportunity workflows. Let's retain the unique name. Select the field, which will be object. Select our operator equals and select our value, which is opportunity. Click on insert selected. Then let's add some fields to the list view display, which will be last modified by and last modified date. So let's hit on save to finalize our changes. So that's it. We have just created a list view for all of the opportunity workflows in the system. So this is a very important tool when creating workflows or when managing workflows in an administration perspective. It helps you gain visibility over which workflows are running on which objects. And when done the right way, we can create different workflow list views to manage different workflows, either defined per department or per particular region of the system. So workflow rules are an extremely important tool in automating certain processes without the need to write custom code in our system. By creating workflow rules and attaching different actions to those rules, we can address some of the most common automation tasks like notifications and field updates. So for this video, we have just performed the following. So first we created the workflow rule, which is our opportunity workflow rule. Next, we added actions to that workflow rule, which we added an email alert to our opportunity workflow rule. And lastly, we created a workflow list view to manage those new workflow rules. So that's it for workflow rules. And in the next section, we'll be discussing how to create workflow actions in the system and add them to your workflow rules.